Hi, and welcome to Watch It Played. My name is Rodney Smith, and in this video, we're going to learn the 1 to 4 player expansion to nature, Natural Disasters, designed by Dominic Krapuschetz and published by North Star Game Studio, who helped sponsor this video. We like to think we have some control over the world around us, but natural disasters remind us that our world can be radically reshaped in unexpected ways, leaving us to adapt or be overwhelmed by their effects. Natural Disasters is the third module for the game Nature, which this video assumes you already know how to play. If not, no worries, we have a tutorial video for that which you can watch first, and it's linked in the description below, along with any of the other modules we have videos for. The various modules give you new ways to play and experience nature, and you can mix and match them in any way you like. Here, we'll focus on the changes Natural Disasters adds to the core game, so join me at the table and let's learn how to play. To set up, follow all the steps for the core game of Nature, but also shuffle the disaster cards, which have this back, into a face-down deck within reach of the players, and create a supply of these Comet tokens. And that's the setup. When using the Natural Disasters module, along with the new elements this adds to your game, which we'll talk about in a moment, you'll now play 5 rounds instead of the usual 4. Also, at the end of each of the first 4 rounds of the game, you'll reveal a single disaster. To reveal a disaster, flip the top one from its deck face up. In the top left corner, some disasters will show this symbol with an effect, which means it is resolved once as soon as it is revealed. In this case, we're told to kill 2 population from every species. Effects target every player. So in a case like this, we'd remove 2 population tokens from this species and 2 from this one. It only has 1, so it loses it, but then with no population tokens left, this species now goes extinct. Unless a natural disaster says otherwise, all killed population and lost size dials caused by a disaster are kept by the player's screen to be added to their new species in the next round. Now, as you can see from these 2 examples, not every natural disaster will have an immediate effect, but if one does, again, you resolve it once as soon as it is revealed. Also, while there are various types of disasters, each will have a varying number of copies with unique but often related effects. For example, these are all flooding disasters, but you'll notice that their immediate effects are slightly different from one another. Whether a disaster has an immediate effect or not, it will almost always have a comet effect at the bottom indicated by this symbol. That effect will be ongoing for as many rounds as the value shown within the comet icon. So in this case, 3 rounds. To represent this, you add that number of comet tokens to the card, and we'll see how these are used in a moment, but now this effect will be resolved anytime it would apply. For example, each round this disaster is in play, any population tokens that starve are returned to the supply instead of being added to the new species a player gains in the next round. At the end of each round, after scoring, you'll remove 1 comet token from each disaster in play. Let's say it was the end of the second round of the game and we had these 2 disasters. We would now remove a comet from each of them, and then you discard any disasters that do not have comet tokens, returning them to the box and ending their effect on the game. Then, since it's the end of the round, you'll now reveal a new disaster, resolve any immediate effect it has here, and then add the required number of comet tokens to it. Remember, you draw a new disaster at the end of every round except the 5th and final one. Okay, with that, we know how disasters come into and leave play, so now let's look at some of the other effects they might have. If you see this exclamation mark symbol, it means the effect has a trigger, which is found on its first line. Anytime its trigger would occur, you must resolve the effect shown on its second line. So here, anytime a species forages, this effect kills one of its population tokens, meaning it would be flipped over and set by its player's screen to be added to their new species next round. And keep in mind, it's possible to have more than 1 copy of a disaster in play, and if they have the same triggers as these do, then all of their effects resolve when the trigger occurs. And be aware, if any disaster cards have effects that conflict with one another, you resolve each one in the order they entered play. So the older ones are resolved before the newer ones. I should also point out, sometimes the copies within a particular disaster have very unique effects. For example, these are all rebirth disasters, but their effects are quite different. Some have triggered effects and others are simply ongoing. Also be aware, some resolve based on the comets a disaster currently has. For example, this adds 3 food to the watering hole for each of its remaining comet tokens. So in this case, if we had 2 comet tokens remaining, we'd add 6 food. We should also look at the effects on Ice Age natural disasters because they refer to increasing the cold level by various amounts. For example, with just this disaster in play, the cold level is 4. At the end of the feeding phase, you check each of your species and kill population from it equal to the cold level minus its size. So looking at this species, with a cold level of 4, we subtract its size of 3, and that means we must kill one of its population tokens. This species has a size of 2, so 4 minus 2 means we kill 2 of its population tokens. If you get a negative result, or 0, when you subtract your size from the cold level, then your species does not suffer any effects from cold and does not lose any tokens. So here with a cold level of 4 and subtracting the size of 4, we get 0, and this species is spared. We're not going to go through all of the disaster effects that come in this game, but I'll show a few more on screen if you'd like to pause and read them to get a sense of the variety of effects you might encounter. There are 40 disaster cards in the box, so you can be sure they'll create a unique combination of effects each time you play. If you're playing with some of nature's other modules, you'll find information about how this module interacts with them here on the back of the rulebook. This Natural Disasters module also comes with components and rules for solo play, and early printings of the game may also have promotional disasters to add into your game. But those elements I'll leave for you to discover on your own. Otherwise, that's everything you need to know to play the Natural Disasters module for nature. If you have any questions about anything you saw here, feel free to put them in the comments below and I'll gladly answer them as soon as I get a chance. You'll also find forums for discussion, pictures, other videos, and lots more over on the games page at Board Game Geek, and I'll put a link to that in the description below. And if you found this video helpful, please consider giving it a like, subscribing, and clicking that little bell icon so you get notification anytime we post a new video. And if you'd like to support us directly, you can join our Patreon team, which I'll have linked below. But until next time, thanks for watching.